शीतला सस्यश्यामला मातरं वन्दे मातरं शुभ्रज्योत्स्ना पुलकितयामिनी पुल्लकुसुमित द्रुमदलशोभिनी सुहासिनी सुमधुरभाषिणी सुखदां वरदां मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरम्.
Thank you very much. Please take your seats. I now request Director SPA Vijayawada, Professor Dr. Ramesh Trikonda, to call upon the Chairperson Board of Governors to declare the convocation open.
Now I request Chairperson Board of Governors SPA Vijayawada, Architect Dr. Amod Taji, to declare the convocation open.
मैं आज जो विद्यार्थी स्नातकोत्तर और पीएचडी प्रोग्राम के लिए प्रमाणित और प्रशिक्षित किए गए हैं, उनके दीक्षांत समारोह 7वां दीक्षांत समारोह प्रारंभ करने की घोषणा करता हूं।
I now take the privilege to introduce our chief guest to all present here. Air Marshal Dr. Ajit Shankar Rao Bhosle was commissioned into the Air Force in 1978 and have given 39 years of distinguished service to the nation. Thereafter, he has joined as a member of UPSC. He is an alumnus of Bhonsla Military School National Defense Academy of the Defense Services Staff College, College of Defense Management and National Institute of Defense Studies from Japan. He holds the degrees of MSc Defense Studies from University of Madras, Masters in Business Management from IGNOU and Osmania University, and MPhil from Tokyo. He held the position of Chief of Headquarters. Integrated Defense Staff, Government of India, and also as the Deputy Chief of Joint Operations, Doctrines, Organization and Training of Government of India. During this period, Air Marshal Ajit Bhosle oversaw the capacity building of armed forces through formulation of defense procurement procedures to encourage Make in India in the defense sector, the expansion of the training capacities and infrastructure at the National Defense Academy, the College of Defense Management and Defense Services Staff College. He initiated the commencement of BTech at the National Defense Academy and was instrumental in the revision of all curricula of the Military Institute of Technology and also the initiation of cyberspace agencies and special forces division and the formulation of joint doctrine of armed forces. He has spearheaded the project for establishment of Indian National Defense University and the selection of site and design for the famous National War Memorial and National War Museum in the capital. Air Marshal Sir has served as a member for several apex committees such as Defense Acquisition Council, Chief of Staffs Committee, Joint Training Committee, Vice Chiefs Committee, and Principal Personnel Officers Committee. He is presently also having several significant portfolios. He is presently nominated as the chairman of the Anti-Ragging Monitoring Committee of the country. He is serving as the vice president of the Central Hindu Military Education Society and is an executive council member of the renowned think tank, the Manohar Parrikar Institute of Defense Studies and Analysis. He has been active in leading the conduct of exercises of disaster relief across India in many states, and he has actively participated in the Sri Lankan Indian Peacekeeping Force, in sight-in operations, and very importantly in Kargil operations, and has over 5,200 hours of military Air Force flying experience. In recognition of his distinguished service of exceptional order, the Honorable President of India has awarded him the Vishishta Seva Medal and then the Ati Vishishta Seva Medal. We all think that we, as well as the nation, and all sitting here, are truly indebted to Air Marshal Ajit Bhonsle sir for his service to our nation in war and peacetime operations, for his work to develop the military and Air Force capabilities of our country, and for being a leader in guarding our country for nearly 4 decades. Sir, on behalf of SPA Vijayawada's fraternity, we bow to you from our hearts for your contribution to our nation, and we are honored to have you to grace the 7th Convocation of SPA Vijayawada. Thank you for being here. I now request Professor Dr. Ramesh Srikonda, Director, SPA Vijayawada, to kindly present the Director's report for the Institute for the academic year 22-23.
Thank you, distinguished Chief Guest, Air Marshal Ajit Shankar Rao Bhonsle, Honorable Former Member, UPSC, Government of India, our Honorable Chairperson, Board of Governors, School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada, Dr. Architect Amod Kumar Gupta ji, all the members of the Board of Governors, members of the Senate, SPA Vijayawada, distinguished invitees, faculty members, staff, media, dear graduates and parents, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to welcome each one of you to the 7th Convocation of School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada. The School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada is one of the 3 SPAs in country established by the Ministry of Education, Government of India, under the Act of Parliament as an institute of national importance in the field of architecture and planning. Prospective students and research scholars across the nation aspire to join one of the 3 SPAs to obtain a bachelor's degree and state-of-art specialization at the Masters of Architecture and Planning and PhD levels. The school has distinguished itself in terms of its potential to grow as a role model in specialized professional education, offering undergraduate and postgraduate education in architecture and planning, while at the same time fostering research of the higher order in these areas. School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada, has made rightful progress with the encouraging support of the Ministry of Education, members of the Board of Governors and Senate, and members of the faculty, staff of School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada. At SPA Vijayawada, we constantly envision placing ourselves on the highest pedestal of academic excellence in architecture and planning through innovation, creation, inclusion, acquisition, and dissemination of knowledge using sustainable and local and global practices. Today, we are greatly privileged to have a well-known and great personality, Air Marshal Dr. Ajit Shankar Rao Bhonsle, Honorable Former Member, UPSC, Government of India, as our Chief Guest. I wish to express our thanks to our Chief Guest for accepting our invitation to grace this important occasion, sir. Air Marshal Ajit Shankar Rao Bhonsle ji is an epitome of towering academic, scientific, administrative, and research successes. He is exemplified how one cannot only be contribute to the disciplines but also to help the build the nation by advising policy and polity. I wish to express my immense sense of gratitude to Dr. Ajit Shankar Rao Bhonsle for gracing this occasion. Thank you very much. SPA Vijayawada currently offering undergraduate and postgraduate doctoral programs in the field of architecture and planning. Presently, school runs with 2 departments, the Department of Architecture and Department of Planning. A total of 2 undergraduate degree programs, 8 postgraduate degree programs and doctoral programs are being offered. I take immense pleasure in announcing in this gathering that a new PG program has been conceptualized and recommended by the Senate SBAV and finalized by the Finance Committee and as well as the DOG on Masters in Design, which is going to start this year in 2024. This PG program in design shall aim to bring in multidisciplinary experts from various design fields towards a specialization that will enable artificial intelligence, AR and VR, and local art forms, local traditional techniques, vernacularism, and ethnicity. At SPAV, we believe in building an environment of education that bases its foundation on pillars of meaningful scientific experimentation and the presence of our wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, in terms of outreach of SBA Vijayawada has been unceasingly reaching out and joining hands with the leading institutions and organizations of the world, not only to provide exposure to our students towards the best practices in the world, but also to share and learn from each other. Our school has MOU, that is Memorandum of Understanding, with several reputed national and international institutions, just like Solent University of United Kingdom, University of Melbourne, Australia, Krims University of Austria, UN Habitat, University of Lille, France, Eclo Blue Global Design, France, Boston College of Architecture, United States of America. Similarly, SPA Vijayawada has entered into the collaborative agreement with Kerala Institute of Local Administration, IIT Tirupati, 2 other SPAs of New Delhi and as well as Bhopal, Council of Architecture, Indian Institute of Town Planners India, Indian Institute of Architects, AICTE, NRSC Hyderabad, and also APHRD, AP TIDCO, Vijayawada Municipal Corporation, NRDC, and many others in the list. SPA has also an agreement with the Center for the Green Building Materials and Technologies, that is CGMBT, Bangalore, National Institute of Design, Andhra Pradesh, Associate Chambers of the Commerce and Industry in India. Besides, SBA contributes its best under the theme of Merimatti Merides on 19th August of 2023. As a part of its initiative, faculty and students along with the NSSL undertaken a plantation drive in the Ravicharla, 30 kilometers north of Vijayawada. On the eve of Children's Day of 2023, a district level art competition was conducted for the schools and colleges of by the SPAV. Nearly 2,000 participants from the various schools and colleges of this region participated. SPAV hosted the conducting the final round of the Kaushal program of 2023 in collaboration with the Vijnana Bharati. This is an annual state level event organized by the Vijnana Bharati to explore and honor particularly that science talent of Indianized science talent of school children pursuing studies in government schools. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a matter of pride to state that SBA Vijayawada has been fostering a research environment but actively encouraging students and faculty to take up the research in several emerging fields. School has undertaken completed projects such as building resilient urban communities, building inclusive communities funded by the European Union. As a part of the project, SPA Vijayawada has successfully completed several professional development programs, open courseware across the nation. SPA has been awarded the preparation of the regional development plan of the Tiruchirappalli district, Tamil Nadu, a project funded by the DTCP, Government of Tamil Nadu. Similarly, Polavaram Resettlement Rehabilitation Project funded by the Government of Andhra Pradesh is being carried out, wherein SPA Vijayawada presently engaged as a knowledge partner. SPA Vijayawada has completed the preparation of the Gram Panchayati Spatial Development Plans for 2 villages of Andhra Pradesh under the funding of the Ministry of Panchayati Raj, Government of India. The school also submitted JS-based master plans for the Bhimavaram as well as the Yeluru. These master plan projects are funded by the Amrut scheme of the Government of India, and Grid of Roads Extended Project is another significant project for 29 villages what we have got it connected in the peri-urban areas of the Chennai. In addition, SPA has taken up several architectural design projects and has been advertising the local government in making the development decisions. SPAV has been involved in the AP State Architectural Board manual vetting as well as APRTC bus fascia and the graphic design, redesign thinking, and then we have also given that particular complete project report to Andhra government. At the Design and Innovation Center of SPA Vijayawada, response and innovation products have been developed. Further DAC activities are now aligned with the NEP 2020 objectives to promote a culture of innovation, laboratory-driven research, industrial collaboration, etc. A research project titled SARR, a smart city mission of Visakhapatnam, been developed that has been taken as one of the best projects and given an example to the other governments to follow the same. Ladies and gentlemen, several initiatives have been taken by the SPA Vijayawada with the leverages towards the path of renewed commitment to the highest level of academic and research standards in the domain of planning and architecture. Initiation of new academic ordinances in 2023 that are aligned with the NEP 2020 covers several aspects that brings the remarkable and significant change in the manner in which the students get admitted, students learn, students get examined and evaluated. Multi-entry exit points, credit transfer, interdisciplinary electives, wider eligibility and professional network for the PhD, and accelerated high-end research output are some of the highlights. Highest quality of the teaching and research has always been the prime objective of the SPA Vijayawada. In collaboration with United Nations Habitat, SPAV organized a series of workshops titled Building Inclusive Cities for Resilient and Sustainable Future. Therein, international case studies were presented in conjunction with the Indian case studies. A two-day national workshop on energy efficiency in planning for enhancing the urban resilience as organized in collaboration with the National Institute of the Disaster Management, New Delhi. An international collaborative workshop on climate and urban built environment in association with the Glasgow University, Scotland, is being conducted for the students of SPAV. As a part of the collaboration with Boston College of Architecture, United States of America, a series of lectures were organized on robotics in architecture. SPA Vijayawada has conducted several executive development programs during the academic year of 22-23 on various state-of-art themes such as resilient and livable future, resilient architecture and dynamic city planning, creative awareness of plagiarism, outdoor thermal comfort and built environment, inclusive housing, role of cultural landscape in building environment resilience, demystifying the conservation, urban design workshops and inner city regeneration. Similarly, there are so many projects we have really made and then made a point in terms of the achievements. If you wanted to look at it, there are so many of our students participated in different activities. Ms. Haripriya Kesavan of B Planning final year, Ms. Pooja, Ms. Joy Gloria, Ms. Meera Manoj, Ms. Asha, Ms. Rohini of Landscape Architecture, Mr. Chirag Das, Mr. Sthiti Parida, Ms. Matangi Venkatraman, Ms. Pravina, Ms. Rutvik, Mr. Nimit Bansali of Architectural Program, Mr. Karan Kumareshan, Mr. Silpa Ram, Mr. Fana of MUD Program, Supriya Bhutani, Ms. Sneha George of Master of Transportation Planning, Ms. Korni Balaji of MURP, Sanjay Anthony, Ms. Savita Mohan of MArch Sustainable Architecture. Students of Bachelor of Planning programs secured the first runner-up position in the 24th Annual National Convention of National Organization of Students of Planning held at the February 2023. Students of Bachelor of Architecture program backed the overall champion trophy at 66th Zonal Convention of NASA. SPAV started in its work on the theme of Visishta Bharat at 2047. As a part of the theme, there are several competitions were conducted for students, faculty and staff on 15th December 2023. The alumni of SPAV has always been the source of support to the alum matters. In the general body meeting also, SPA Alumni Association has been held in the December 2023 at SPAV. They strongly committed to further augment their presence in SPA Vijayawada. The aforesaid mentioned accomplishments would not only be possible without the inherent support at the faculty members in the capacity of being thesis guides, gate mentors, subject coordinators, etc. The credibility and goodwill of increasingly visible presence of SPA Vijayawada is primarily due to the relentless efforts of its students, faculty, and staff. The campus infrastructure of SPA Vijayawada is one of the best in the country. The campus consists of all green parameters in terms of the design. Facilities like solar water heating system for hostels and the kitchen with 19,000 liters per day capacity. SPA Vijayawada has complete rooftop solar power generation which plays a pivotal role in saving the energy. The campus has been groundwater recharge system with the rainwater harvesting systems. So many other green initiatives have been incorporated in the SPA Vijayawada campus. When it comes to the central library is an integral part of the academic system and has more than 10,000 collections of the book, 5,000 e-books, and some of the state-of-the-art laboratories also SPA Vijayawada has. That is Central Computer Library, Laboratory, State-of-Art Environmental Lab, Environmental Monitoring Lab, Climatology Energy Studies Lab, Art Lab, Building Material and Construction Lab, GIS and Transportation Lab, Landscape Lab, and Conservation and LIDAR Lab. The campus has got ICT-enabled teaching atmosphere, high-level digital surveillance system, modern laboratories, spacious studios and classrooms, open-air theater, an auditorium with a cafeteria and outdoor sports facilities, and also land on the campus caters almost approximately to the 2,000 users at a time. With this summary of the key achievements and endeavors of the school in the recent times, it is a pleasure to come back to the most important part of today, that is congratulating our graduates and thanking them. Embrace the diversity of the thought, collaborate with others, and let your passion drive you towards marking a positive impact. Your actions have the potential to shape individuals, industries, uplift communities, and contribute to the betterment of the society. To the graduates, my heartfelt congratulations on reaching this important moment in your academic journey. Your hard work, determination have laid foundation for the success of this await event. Your graduates, I extend my heartiest congratulations again and best wishes to each one of you and your parents on this occasion. It is a gratifying moment for our school to witness your academic accomplishments. It is your hard work, your truthful efforts, and your motivation that has brought you to this moment. I truly appreciate your prevalence and patience, understanding, and belief in SPA Vijayawada. I would like to conclude once again extending my deepest gratitude to our chief guest, Air Marshal Dr. Ajit Shankar Rao Bonsleji, and our Chairperson Board of Governors SPAV Dr. Architect Amod Kumar Gupta ji, and all Senate members and BOG members for gracing this occasion. And all. Dhanyawad. Jai Hind.
I now request Dr. Architect Amod Kumar Gupta, Honorable Chairperson Board of Governors of SPA Vijayawada, to kindly address the gathering and enlighten the graduates.
नमस्कार। युगाद 5125 विक्रम संवत 2080 माह पौष कृष्ण पक्ष सप्तमी इति 3 जनवरी 2024। आज के कार्यक्रम के हमारे मुख्य अतिथि एयर मार्शल डॉक्टर अजीत राव शंकर राव जी भोसले, बोर्ड ऑफ गवर्नर्स के सम्मानीय सदस्यगण, विद्वत परिषद के सदस्यगण, निदेशक डॉक्टर रमेश श्री कौंडा जी, संकाय प्रमुख, शिक्षकगण, प्रिय विद्यार्थियों एवं विद्यार्थियों के अभिभावकगण, आज हम सब यहाँ पर दीक्षांत समारोह के लिए एकत्रित हुए हैं। आज एक और बैच शिक्षा अर्जित कर अपने व्यावसायिक जीवन में प्रवेश करने जा रहा है। आप ऐसे समय में अपने व्यावसायिक जीवन में प्रवेश कर रहे हैं जब देश और समाज आपकी ओर बहुत आशा और उम्मीद से देख रहा है। मैं समझता हूं आपके समक्ष चुनौतियां केवल अर्जित ज्ञान को सफलतापूर्वक लागू करने में नहीं है, वरन आपके समक्ष असली चुनौती तो हमारे स्वयं के द्वारा खड़ी की गई समस्याओं का सरल समाधान खोजने और उसके क्रियान्वयन में है। आप ऐसे समय में अपनी शिक्षा पूर्ण कर व्यवहार में लागू करने के लिए प्रस्तुत हैं जब विकास के मॉडल पर ही प्रश्न उठाए जा रहे हैं। विकास की प्रचलित परिभाषाएं संदेह के घेरे में हैं। प्रश्न उठाए जा रहे हैं कि विकास है क्या? क्या जीवन के श्रेष्ठ अवसरों को दांव पर लगाकर कुछ छोटी मोटी सुख सुविधाएं उठा लेना ही विकास है? दिल्ली, चेन्नई, बेंगलुरु सहित देश के कई शहरों में बढ़ता हुआ जानलेवा प्रदूषण और बाढ़ की स्थिति के बाद तो यह सवाल बहुत मुखरता से पूछा जा रहा है और पूछा जाना भी चाहिए, क्योंकि ऐसे तमाम अध्ययन आ रहे हैं जो हमें ऐसे संभावित खतरों के प्रति सचेत कर रहे हैं। हाल में ही एनवायरमेंटल हेल्थ पर्सपेक्टिव जर्नल में प्रकाशित एक शोध में बताया गया कि प्रदूषित स्थानों के आसपास बड़े हो रहे बच्चों में चिंता और आत्म अवसाद के विकार बहुत जल्दी पैदा हो जाते हैं। प्रदूषण की तरह शहरीकरण भी आज एक प्रदेश की नहीं वरन देश की समस्या है। स्वतंत्रता के 75 वर्षों के पश्चात गांव कस्बे नगर नगर महानगर में बदलते चले गए, लेकिन गांवों की स्थिति में कोई विशेष बदलाव नहीं दिखता है। आज भी गांव वैसे ही दिखते हैं जैसे 100 वर्ष पूर्व थे। दूसरी तरफ शहरों व नगरों की संस्कृति और सभ्यता ने दुनिया को दूसरी समस्याओं में डाल दिया। शहरीकरण या नगरीकरण का नतीजा है कि 4 लेन की सड़कों पर गाड़ियों की संख्या तो बढ़ती चली गई, लेकिन उसके बीच में रेंगती हुई भीड़ ने जीवन के कहीं असली उद्देश्य को खो दिया। मनुष्य मशीन और शहरी समस्याओं का केंद्र बन गया है। नगर का आकर्षण हर कोई बगैर पड़ताल किए कि क्या शहर इस बढ़ते हुए अधिक जनसंख्या के दबाव को वहन करने को तैयार भी है या नहीं, बस उठे और शहर की ओर चल दिए। संभवतः इस बढ़ती हुई प्रकृति या प्रवृत्ति का कारण है अच्छी शिक्षा, अच्छा जीवन, अच्छे रोजगार के साधन और अच्छे उपचार। अनियोजित शहरीकरण के कारण हो रहे पर्यावरण के नुकसान को भी समझना होगा। बीते 3 दशकों से जिस धड़ल्ले से हमारे खेत, तालाब, पहाड़ विलुप्त हो रहे हैं और जगह जगह कंक्रीट के जंगल उग आए हैं, ताजी स्वच्छ हवा और पानी पा लेना आज दुष्कर कार्य हो रहा है। इससे बचाव का एक उपाय सुव्यवस्थित एवं सुनियोजित विकास भी है। समाधान के लिए पूरा देश, समाज आपकी ओर देख रहा है। जब आप भविष्य का देश गढ़ रहे होंगे, उसकी कल्पना और नियोजन कर रहे होंगे, तब आपको हमारी ज्ञान परंपरा के कुछ सूत्रों को अवश्य स्मरण रखना चाहिए। हमारी ज्ञान परंपरा कहती है, आहार निद्रा भय मैथुन च सामान्यतेत पशु भिर्मक्षणाम धर्मो ही तेषाम अधिको विशेष धर्माहीना पशु भी समाना। अर्थात आहार, निद्रा, भय, मैथुन, ये 4 बातें मनुष्य और पशु में समान होती है, परंतु मनुष्य के पास पशुओं से एक बात विशेष है और वह विशिष्टता है धर्म। जो मनुष्य अपने धर्म का पालन नहीं करता वह पशु तुल्य हो जाता है। तो प्रश्न उठता है, आज आप यहां से शिक्षित और अब दीक्षित हो रहे हैं, तो आपका धर्म क्या है? हमारा धर्म भविष्य के लिए एक ऐसा नियोजन करना है जो प्रकृति के अनुकूल हो। धारण से धर्म, और जो सभी धारण कर ले वो धरा अर्थात पृथ्वी। जिस धरा पर हम सृजन से लेकर विसर्जन तक सभी कार्य करते हैं, ऐसे में हमारा स्वयं का धर्म अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण हो जाता है। भारतीय मनीषियों ने सदा पर्यावरण को विशेष महत्व दिया है और हमारी पूजा अनुष्ठान में प्रयुक्त होने वाली ऋचाओं पर कभी ध्यान दीजिए। एक ऋचा मैं बताता हूं। ओम दयो शांति अंतरिक्ष शांति, पृथ्वी शांति रापा शांति रोसध्यम शांति, वनस्पत्य शांति विश्वे देवा शांति ब्रह्मा शांति, सर्व शांति शांतिरेव शांति सामा शांति रोधि। यजुर्वेद का यह ऋचा, इसमें कामना की गई कि भूलोक से लेकर पृथ्वी के सभी जैविक और अजैविक घटक संतुलन की अवस्था में रहें। अदृश्य आकाश, नक्षत्र युक्त आकाश, अंतरिक्ष, पृथ्वी, उसके सभी घटक, जल, औषधि, वनस्पति, संपूर्ण संसाधन, देव और ज्ञान सभी संतुलित रहें, संतुलित अवस्था में रहें, तभी व्यक्ति शांत और संतुलित रह सकता है। भारतीय चिंतन में पृथ्वी को मां कहा गया, मातृशक्ति माना गया और स्वयं को उसका पुत्र। इसीलिए कहा गया माता भूमि पुत्रोहम पृथ्वीवा। नारद पुराण में एक लाइन आती है, जले वापी यतस्य नाद हजम उत्तरम भ्रूण हत्या सहम पापम शेर प्राजो याति दारुणम। अर्थात जो पुरुष जल में कफ, विष्टा, मल, मूत्र का त्याग करता है उसे भ्रूण हत्या के बराबर का पाप लगता है और वह अत्यंत दुर्गंध युक्त कूप से युक्त नरक में डाल दिया जाता है। स्पष्ट है कि हमारी भारतीय दर्शन और संस्कृति में प्रकृति को अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण सम्मानजनक स्थान दिया गया। वैदिक काल से ही सृष्टि के निर्माण की प्रक्रिया में प्रकृति और मनुष्य के बीच समन्वयकारी संबंध की झलक दिखती है। मनुष्य शरीर पंच तत्व अर्थात पृथ्वी, अग्नि, जल, वायु और आकाश से मिलकर बना है, ऐसा माना गया है। मनुष्य को कहीं भी विशिष्ट स्थान नहीं दिया गया, विशिष्ट अधिकार नहीं दिया गया जिससे वो स्वयं को प्रकृति के अन्य सभी घटकों से श्रेष्ठ मानने लगे। तभी मानव धर्म है कि हम अपने कल्याण के साथ साथ अन्य प्राणियों और प्रकृति के घटकों के साथ घटकों के कल्याण की कामना और कार्य करते रहें। आधुनिक विज्ञान भी भारतीय दर्शन के इस प्राकृतिक चिंतन और बोध को स्वीकार कर चुका है। संभवतः इसी कारण आजकल हम अंग्रेजी के शब्द प्रयोग में ला रहे हैं, इन्वायरमेंटल सेंसिटिविटी, सस्टेनेबिलिटी, क्लाइमेट चेंज। आप हमारी ऋचाओं और ट्रीटीज में जाएंगे तो प्रारंभ से ही इस पे चिंतन और बल है। मैं आशा करता हूं आप अपने कर्मों में प्रकृति के समावेशी दृष्टिकोण को पर्याप्त स्थान देंगे और वास्तुकार और नियोजक के रूप में मानव धर्म का पालन करेंगे। जैसा कि मैंने पूर्व में उल्लेख किया, आज दीक्षा ग्रहण करने के पश्चात स्नातक हुए विद्यार्थियों पर अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण दायित्व है। कड़ी प्रतिस्पर्धा कि आज इस माहौल में प्रवेश करने से पूर्व आपको यह निर्णय लेना होगा कि आप अपना कैरियर कैसे बनाएंगे। आपसे मुझे इतना ही कहना है कि आप अपने निर्णयों पर दृढ़ रहकर निश्चित रूप से व्यक्तिगत और पेशेवर जीवन में लक्ष्यों को प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। उदारीकरण और वैश्वीकरण के उपरांत एक गांव में परिवर्तित होती दुनिया में कुछ महत्वपूर्ण मानवीय व्यवहार खो गए से प्रतीत होते हैं। दो पंक्ति और मैं जोड़ना चाहूंगा। आज आप शिक्षित और दीक्षित होकर निकल रहे हैं। अभी तक जो आपने शिक्षा ग्रहण की वह एक फॉर्मल एजुकेशन था। आपको आगे पूरे जीवन में पढ़ना है। पढ़ाई का अंत नहीं हुआ है और वह पढ़ाई होगी स्वाध्याय। स्वयं से पढ़ना है, स्वाध्याय। मैंने आपको कुछ अपने पुराणों के नाम बताए हैं, आप स्वाध्याय कीजिए, उनको पढ़िए जो योजना पूर्वक आपके जीवन से निकाल दिए गए। वो भारतीय जीवन मूल्यों के शोध के महत्वपूर्ण ग्रंथ हैं। आपकी एक ऐसी पीढ़ी है जो एक महत्वपूर्ण घटनाक्रमों की साक्षी बनने जा रही है। संभवतः उस काल तक हमारी पीढ़ी न रहे। आज से 75 वर्ष पूर्व हम सब ने शब्दों में स्वतंत्रता प्राप्त की थी। व्यक्तिगत तौर पे आज भी मेरे मन में दुविधा है कि अब स्वतंत्र हुए थे या स्वाधीन हुए थे, क्योंकि तंत्र तो आज भी वही है। स्वाधीन जरूर हो गए थे। अब 75 वर्ष बाद हमारे माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने एक योजना बनाई और हम अमृत काल से जा रहे हैं। 75 वर्ष के स्वाधीनता के बाद 75 वर्ष का अमृत काल, और 75 वर्ष के अमृत काल की समाप्ति 2047, जिसको कि हम एक लक्ष्य दिया गया है कि हम विकसित भारत का हिस्सा बनेंगे। आप सब पे एक महत्वपूर्ण जिम्मेदारी है कि आप विकसित भारत बनाने में अपना सहयोग देंगे और उसके प्रत्यक्ष साक्षी भी बनेंगे। अपने उद्बोधन को समाप्त करने के पहले मैं एक बार फिर इस कार्यक्रम में पधारने का आमंत्रण स्वीकार करने के लिए, अपना बहुमूल्य समय प्रदान करने के लिए अतिथियों का आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। मैं डॉक्टर एयर मार्शल अजीत शंकर राव भोसले जी का विशेष रूप से आभारी हूं, जिन्होंने हमारे अनुरोध को सहर्ष स्वीकार किया। मैं बोर्ड ऑफ गवर्नर्स के सदस्यगण, विद्वत परिषद के सदस्यगण, अन्य अतिथिगण, विद्यार्थियों के अभिभावकगण, आप सबका विशेष तौर पर धन्यवाद देता हूं। और प्रिय विद्यार्थियों, मैं आपको अपनी शुभकामनाएं देता हूं और आशा करता हूं कि आप अपने कर्मों से समय समय पर एसपीए विजयवाड़ा को गौरवान्वित होने का अवसर प्रदान करते रहेंगे। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद। मैं अब इस कार्यक्रम के मुख्य अतिथि एयर मार्शल डॉक्टर अजीत शंकर राव भोसले जी से अनुरोध करता हूं कि कृपया वो अपने आशीर्वचन से हम सभी को अनुग्रहित करें। धन्यवाद।
Check. Jai Hind. I know there is a embargo on clapping, but there is no embargo on saying Jai Hind. So I'd like you to say Jai Hind so loudly that this roof flies away. Jai Hind! That's very nice. It is indeed my privilege and pleasure to be amongst you on this big day at this Temple of Learning, the School of Architecture and Planning, Vijayawada, for the 7th Convocation ceremony. Now, 7 is a very lucky number. I'm inspired to be in the presence of architect Dr. Amol Kumar Gupta ji
and I'm quite motivated by the speech that he just delivered, the Chairperson of Board of Governors, also Professor Dr. Ramesh Srikonda, Chairperson, Senate, Director, SPA VIJAYAWADA, honorable members of the Senate and the Board of Governors. I acknowledge the presence of distinguished invitees who are sitting here, who are elderly to me in age and wisdom, the teaching and non-teaching staff, the students of SPA VIJAYAWADA, who are the soul of this institute of national importance, proud parents and relatives of the graduating students, members of media, ladies and gentlemen. As you would have gathered from the introduction given about me, I have been a soldier, an air warrior for 40 years. And the warrior in me is excited to be in this ancient city of Vijayawada, where the greatest warrior of Mahabharata, Arjun, was bestowed upon by Lord Shiva, the Pashupati Astra, a celestial missile which could destroy every living thing and could be fired by using the mind or the eyes or the word or the bow. Dear graduating students, you are the Arjuns, boys and girls, and your teachers are Lord Shiva, who have bestowed upon you the astra of knowledge. The power of this knowledge you have to use not for destruction, but for the well-being of our people, for well-being of our society, and for well-being of our nation, Bharat, to make India, developed India, powerful India, Vikasit Bharat, Sashakt Bharat, by the time our nation turns 100 years in 2047. You are the architects of Vikasit Bharat and Sashakt Bharat. In the past few days, as I was reading up on architecture and design, I was fascinated as to how, over the millennia, architecture has been a field that permits the seamless collaboration of engineering and art, culture and science, rationality and intuition, and has been the most potent instrument of history and are the telling signs of our civilization. Architecture has always been a public art, connected and interwoven inseparably to the multiple patterns of social life of the man on this earth. What is the purpose of architecture? What is the task of architects? The purpose of our buildings is too often understood slowly in terms of functional performance, physical comfort, economy, symbolic representations, and aesthetic values. However, the task of architecture extends beyond its material, beyond its functional and measurable properties, and even beyond the aesthetics, into the mental and existential spheres of life. Buildings do not merely provide physical shelter or facilitate distinct activities. In addition to housing our fragile bodies and actions, they must also house our minds, they must house our memories, they must house our desires and our dreams. And whose desires and dreams are we talking about? We're talking about India, we're talking about Bharat, with the largest population of 1.43 billion, 143 crores, in the world of 800 crores. Their expectations are high, and each one of us is responsible to fulfill these expectations and face up the challenges, which are both daunting and exciting. I would take a quick update on Bharat 2024 to identify the expectations and challenges for India and you as architects and designers. India in 2024 stands at the S-curve of economic growth. What does S-curve mean? A nation that attains the S-curve of economic development, it means that it indicates a trend that in the coming decades, the nation would continue to develop. The interesting fact is that India is entering this S-curve at a time when there is a surge in urbanization, industrialization, domestic production, and energy utilization, along with foreign direct investments, youthful workforce such as you, and increased participation of women in the workforce. In all these enablers, the architects and planners have a stake and responsibility. In terms of GDP, India is expected to grow at 6.5 till 2045, which will be 3.5% higher than that of China. Indian economy will be at the center point of world development, as per Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Moody, and other world financial institutions. India is expected to reach $4 trillion this year and 7.3 trillion US dollar 2030, thus overtaking Japan to be the second largest economy in Asia, and that is only 6 years away from now. India's population during 2000 and 2022 in the last 10 years has grown at an average rate of 1.1%. And during this period, the workforce of ages 16 to 64 that has joined is increased by 0.72%. India's use of fossil fuel is 23.7 crore tons, which is about 76% less than that of China and 82% less than developed countries. What does it mean? That from 2022 to the next year, the demand of energy in India is expected to rise 82%. In terms of urbanization, India has 35% of its population in urban areas. It increased at the annual rate of 19.6 during the last decade. There is large rural population which is moving towards cities as the carrying capacity of agricultural land and avenues of employment in rural areas are saturated and even depleted. In terms of participation of women workforce, in the Indian universities itself, the women students outnumber the male students as of now. The enrollment of women students in the STEM, Science, Technology, English and Maths, is 43%, which is the highest in the world. The United States of America stands at a poor second position with 32% of women students. So hats off to the women students. This trend is expected to continue in the next 2 decades, and the participation of women workforce is likely to increase to 55% in India, which will outnumber the men force. This update of Bharat of 2024 is inspiring and challenging. Each of these components, urbanization, industrialization, energy utilization, women at workplace, has architectural and design responsibilities and challenges. Each of these are prime drivers of economic growth. If not planned and executed well, whether it is urbanization or transportation or industrialization, energy utilization, it has the potential to be a bane rather than a boon. The problems it can create are for all of us to see: unplanned growth, overcrowding, poor state of public transportation, pollution, and environmental degradation. There are problems and there will be problems. Optimists choose to call problems as challenges, and you have to be optimist. Be it as that may, they need to be prevented. These problems need to be mitigated and solved. They are preventable and they are solvable. Dear students, the onus of that lies on your shoulders in a very major way. Professor Christopher Charles Benninger, the renowned and respected Indian architect with whom I had the privilege of working in 2016 and 17, along with a very revered Professor Anand Krishnan sir sitting at the dais, we worked together at the National War Memorial and Museum Design. And he has said in one of the gatherings, and I quote him, architecture is to solve problems, and it is not to create problems, unquote. He goes on to say that housing is a major challenge. There are no more jobs in the rural areas, so migration to urban area is inevitable. As per a study, 75% of Mumbai dwellers cannot afford the EMIs for flats that are being built in the Mumbai suburbs. What does it mean? It would mean that they would continue to live in overcrowded chawls or jhopatpattis or slums in unhygienic conditions and overburdening the civic amenities of water, electricity, sewerage and drainage, including public transportation, hospitals and schools. Dear students, as you, architects and designers, are the change agents, poorer the people you are working for, greater is the challenge, and of course, greater is the scope of making the change, and greater is the reward. Dear graduates, is it too overwhelming when I implore you to go out there and change the world? How can I sort out all this mess you must be saying, which you have handed over to me, and that seems to be unstoppable? Though graduating from SPAV, for you, exiting from here may be intimidating as well. Students may feel uncomfortable about what they would do in their professional as well as personal life. I have a story to narrate. It's a very interesting story. And the story goes like this. There was a young executive who came home one day with a bag full of work. It normally happens. His 5-year-old son wanted to play with him. And the father said, "Son, I have got a lot of work to do. I'm behind in my office." To that the son said, "Dad, when I am behind in my school, my teacher puts me in a slower group. Why don't you go and put yourself in a slower group in the office?" The father replied, "No, son, it doesn't work like that in the corporate world. But the child didn't understand. He still wanted to play with his father. The father finally thought of a way to keep the child occupied so that he could get on with his work. And the father had a magazine with a picture of the world on the cover. He pulled the page out and tore it into a small number of pieces, called his son and said, "Son, go put this picture of the world together, and when you are done, I'll come and play with you." He knew that the child will take several hours, but within 5 minutes, his son comes back and says, "Dad, I'm done." The man couldn't believe till he saw that it was really done. He asked, "Son, how did you do it? I need to learn from you." The son replied, "Dad, it was easy. On the other side of the picture of the world, there's a picture of a man. All I did was to put the man together and turn it other way around, and the world came together." And this is the story. Dear graduates, you too can put the man and woman within you together, and the world will come together. And that's the story. I see challenges and I also see opportunities. People don't focus on failures of someone's life, they focus on successes. We should focus on both failures and successes. And I'm telling you a story of a failure, and that none other than Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. His example stands out when he had failed to counter the attack and onslaught of Mirza Raja Jai Singh, who was sent by Aurangzeb to capture or kill Shivaji Maharaj. Mirza Raja Jai Singh was successful in capturing much of Shivaji's territory and had laid siege at the Purandar fort. In the Treaty of Purandar in the year 1665, Shivaji Maharaj had to surrender 27 of his 32 forts. And he was placed under the house arrest at Agra by Aurangzeb. It was a failure, but it was also a show of discretion and mental toughness on Shivaji Maharaj's part. Later in August 1966, as you know, Shivaji Maharaj escaped miraculously from Agra, and in the next 5 years, 66 to 71, he not only captured all the surrender forts, but many more forts and constructed many more forts. And this is example of resilience and mental toughness. So in the failure, when you study failures, this is what finally comes out. The lesson for you, my dear graduates, is leave your comfort zone. Mental strength lies in ability to consciously place yourself in a vulnerable position, taking risks and getting out of your comfort zone. The result is that you change your status from being a spectator to being a player. Mental toughness helps you make the right decisions, even though they may not be the most pleasant. This reminds me of a couplet in Hindustani by Janab Iqbal Sajid, and he says, "Pyaso raho na dasht mein baris ke muntazir, maro zamin pe paao ki pani nikal pade." I'll repeat this. "Pyaso raho na dasht mein barish ke muntazir, maro zamin pe paao ki pani nikal pade," which means do not wait for the rains to quench your thirst. Stamp the ground hard enough so that water springs out of it. And that is what you should do. We have said that architecture has always been a public art, connected and interwoven inseparably to the multitude and multiple patterns of social life of man on this earth. It is so documented in the ancient Indian treatise on architecture called the Mayamatam. Both the artists and craftsmen are referred to there as Shilpi. In fact, the Vedic text goes a step further and calls architect as Stapati, and he is described as combining the qualities of a Shilpi and that of a scholar, that is Sarva Shastra Visharat. Mayamatam in the chapter Shilpa Lakshanam has elucidated how in our, which Dr. Amokji had very nicely alluded to, it is documented, and I quote, "An architect must know how to establish buildings and must be well versed with all the sciences. He means she also, he must be learned in mathematics, he must be able to draw, and he must know the whole country," unquote. Therefore, there is an inseparability between construction and design, as well as, which was very well understood by our ancients. While it is understood that there is inseparability between construction and design, both are under the influence of technology, including artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, machine learning, AR, VR, etc. This is not a threat to the creative human mind. Rather, these are the enablers to make the construction and design more efficient in terms of cost and quality and for futuristic research. Dear students, go ahead and embrace these technologies and tools. Make friends with technology and make technology work for you. When we think about sustainable architecture and urbanism, plethora of issues cascade into each other. Issues in sustainable development, issues in environmental damage, climate change, greenhouse effect, ecology and economy, environmental humanism, forest management, timber in sustainable development, rational use of energy, thermal solar energy, wind energy, biogas, green buildings, urban expansion, land use and management, pollution, noise abatement, traffic and public transportation, cyclists and pedestrianization, conservation, water management, waste management, air quality, optimizing construction, mixing materials, prefabrication, and site management. I almost got tired reading us. The point is, all of this is in your syllabus here. That's what the respected director told me. And you're so fortunate to learn all these things. Because these are the ones you're going to handle. These are the ones you're going to face up. The quest for environmental value in architecture for a harmonious balance between a man and his surrounding is not new. For centuries, and particularly in domestic and vernacular architecture, people adopted this approach out of necessity, which also you all are studying here. Since the Industrial Revolution, it has been increasingly abandoned in favor of man's belief in his own omnipresence and ability to draw unrestrainably on the Earth's resources. Today, the effects of climate change, which was first became evident in the 20th century, are becoming more apparent. I believe that VIJAYAWADA was not so cold in earlier years. Suddenly it's become pleasant. Faced with these dangers, that's climate change. Public and policy matters alike are becoming conscious of the need to protect our natural environment. The Millennium Summit 2000, Rio Declaration 2012, and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 are to approach architecture and urbanism in a way in which it respects environment. The SDG 11 is for make cities of human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Urban areas account for 70% of the world's GDP, so they are almost inescapable. Cities are hubs of ideas, commerce, culture, science, productivity, transport systems, water, sanitation, waste management, disaster risk reduction, access to information, education, capacity building, and all our healthcare, and all are relevant issues to sustainable urban development. In 2008, for the first time in the history of global urban population, outnumbered the rural population, and it is estimated by 2050, 2/3 of the world population will be living in urban areas. Every year, 730 lakh people will move from rural to urban area on the globe, and the largest chunk of that would be from your own country, India. UN Habitat's 2016 New Horizon Agenda seeks to offer national and local guidelines on the growth and development of cities through 2036. Even that is, I think you are collaborating with UN Habitat, as I came to know. The application of sustainable development principles to building is one of the most efficient responses to that we have to need to reduce the greenhouse effect and the destruction of our environment. Such a response is based on 3 complementary, closely linked concepts and tenets. These are social equity, environmental caution, and economic efficiency. Land use and management is another important aspect. Land is limited resource. Unmindful urbanization by bringing in agriculture and forest lands under construction of expanding cities is detrimental to ecology, sustainability, population, and environment. Another concern is energy management and environmental water management. The building sector is one of the biggest energy consumers. Energy is consumed throughout the construction cycle. A national energy policy which incentives and strict regulating measures is required. In case of environmental water management, the local authority must have sustainable water management policy, and it is worthwhile to study the China, how they manage it. With the women workforce at increasing a rapid rate, there is a movement towards redesigning urban spaces for women. To make cities women-friendly, urban planners must focus on 2 issues. First, create safety from violence, and second, create adequate childcare support. We need to build gender-inclusive cities. It is recognized that gender-responsive urban planning leads to economically prosperous, socially just, and inclusive cities. Recently, I read an article in the newspaper titled "Road to Better Cities Runs Through Their Digital Twins." A digital twin, as you know, is the digital clone of a physical entity, be it product, system, or space. In geographical terms, a digital twin is like a 3D virtual replica of an area mirroring all its physical details. Digital twins are an intricate offers an intricate understanding of complex urban systems, facilitating informed interventions, and this can help the governments to allocate resources discreetly. In conclusion, students and all present here, I will like to say that future generations can enjoy satisfactory quality of life. A sustainable approach towards use of Earth's rural resources is now vital. The application of this idea to architecture, urbanism, and land use requires the participation of all parties, policy makers, developers, both public and private sectors, urban planners, architects, engineers, landscape designers, regulatory authorities, contractors, and builders. The spread and success of environmental quality in the building sector is linked to close collaboration, which is the theme of the National Education Policy 20 also, collaboration, is linked to the close collaboration between these affected different sections of the industry and the use made of each other's expertise. The involvement and the commitment of the user is also an essential element. Dear graduates, you as architects and designers are a class apart. You are optimists and not cynical about yourself, the society, and our nation, Bharat. Aap ashawadi hai. You are visionaries, as you have the knowledge and visualize the great Bharat. You have the vision fired by you. Your Desh Bhav, your nationalism is going to take our nation, Bharat, towards Viksit Bharat and Sashakt Bharat. And you are doers. You are not only theoreticians, but you are doers. You are practitioners of nation building, Desh Nirman. I wish all you best in the future. Jai Hind!
I would now request our director to kindly felicitate our chief guest, Air Marshal Dr. Ajit Shankar Rao Bhosle. I would request Director S.P. VIJAYAWADA to also kindly felicitate our Chairperson of the Board of Governors, SPAV, Dr. Architect Amok Kumar Gupta. Thank you, sir. We would now move on to the part where we give the degrees out. At the start, we would start with the gold medals, the best thesis awards. I would request all the audience to please hold your applause during the distribution of the gold medals and the best thesis award. I now request our chief guest, along with our BOG chairperson, to award the gold medals for overall academic excellence in all the studies of academic programs in SPA Vijayawada. The 2023 gold medalists for overall academic excellence of PG and UG may please come forward.